am your teacher, Mr. Pacitti, and this is my classroom here in Nashville, Tennessee. So put away your mobile phones, put away your Black Friday sales. It's all bollocks. We don't need any of it. It's time to concentrate, it's time to study. This is Raw, and this is Graded. It's time to burn it down. Seth Rollins makes his way to the ring. He is here to apologise for being a bit of a bellend. It's about bloody time. No. He is here to apologise for his words on last week's Raw. He says that he is the father of the Raw family. They're all his children in the back. And he, as Daddy Raw, went too far. He said things that he shouldn't have said, and he wants to apologise, but especially to Kevin Owens. So out comes Kevin Owens, and he asks Seth, are the closest members of your little Raw family the AOP? Because remember what happened last week? They attacked Kevin Owens, but they didn't attack Seth Rollins, and Rollins goes, no, he denies any responsibility for the AOP's actions, and Kevin Owens replies saying, that is bullshh! BS. He actually says it. He actually says the S word. The Attitude Era's back. Then the AOP come out and they're like, holla, let's do a tag match right now. Seth and Kev versus the AOP. And Kev's like, no, because you're all on the same side. Oh, screw it. I'll take you all on. 3 versus 1. And then Seth leaves because I guess he was telling the truth. So it's going to be 2-on-1, right? Kevin Owens versus the AOP? Nope, the AOP just piss off backstage. So I didn't quite get this. Maybe I missed something, but I didn't understand why the AOP seemed to be scared of Kevin Owens on his own. They wanted nothing to do with that, but they were well up for a match with Rollins and Owens. I don't know, I didn't hate this segment, I'm giving it a C, and it posed a few interesting questions too. Has Seth truly turned heel? Has he aligned himself with the AOP as Kevin Owens suspects? Why didn't the AOP just beat up Kevin Owens like they did last week when he was on his own in the ring? Stay tuned, time will tell. I don't know. Do the WWE know? Probably not. Also, before I move on, the BS line, Kevin Owens saying the S word, I'm all for that. I'm all for edgier language being used, but in such a, what felt like a very scripted promo, it wasn't as impactful as it could have been. Like, give Becky that line when she's doing a work shoot or something like that, and then she says the S word, it's going to mean a whole lot more than it did last night. I think it was a wasted opportunity. So, Owens is in the ring, he's all taped up, and he says, well, I'm here, I'm ready, let's have a match. And who should answer that challenge? It's only bloody Lana, and what a match they had. I'm joking. She came out, she gets on the mic, and she's like, don't expect to see Rusev here tonight because I filed for another restraining order in the great state of Tennessee. Paperwork, eh? Owens goes on to slag off Lana, which brings out Bobby Lashley, and Lana's like, he's here to end you once and for all. So we get a match. And a surprisingly fun match. It was really quite fast-paced, something that you wouldn't expect given the size of the two guys in the ring. But it was fun while it lasted. Then, outrun the AOP, and they beat up Kevin Owens, causing a DQ. Why didn't they do it earlier? They start laying in the punches, they throw Owens into the crowd barricade, they're trashing him on the ramp, and then they drag his lifeless corpse up the ramp to the backstage area. Where have they gone? All the while, the crowd are chanting, Rusev Day, Rusev Day, Rusev Day. They are desperate to see Rusev, and at this point, I'm going to eat my words. Nom 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 nom. WWE are clearly doing something right because the crowd were invested and so was I. But it's not over yet. The crowd are about to get their wish. Bobby Lashley and Lana being interviewed in the ring. Bobby Lashley's like, the AOP, that was nothing to do with me. Lana's like, hey, I had to hire detectives to protect me and Bobby from Rusev when all of a sudden, who could it be? Rusev jumps the barricade, slides in the ring, he's making funny faces, match kick, lays out Bobby Lashley, and then makes some more funny faces, jumps the barricade once again. The police are bloody useless, let me tell you, but it was really, really exciting and I enjoyed it a lot. Lashley and Lana are not happy bunnies. Lashley rolls out of the ring and he gets in the police officer's face and he's like, why didn't you do anything? It looks like he's about to be arrested, even though Rusev should have got arrested for violating the restraining order. Never mind. Lashley then, walking up the ramp, barges into the police officer and Bobby Lashley is arrested. And then Lana's getting in their faces and then bang, slaps one of them and she gets arrested too. And I'm sat there the whole time. I'm not really worried about the inaccuracies, the storyline flaw there of Rusev. They should have been after him and all that. I was sat there with a big grin on my face because I was just really enjoying it. It was fun. It was genuinely fun. And I know you're probably going to disagree with me, but hey, sue me. File a restraining order. Forget the match itself, that was pointless. This angle, this segment gets an A-. And I know you hate me for that. I know you do. But watch it back, the crowd were into it, maybe you were too at home. This was almost an A. I can't believe I'm saying that. A-. Keep it up. Essentially, when Rusev hopped that barricade, I was like, yes! Get him, Rusev! They've been horrible! Beat up the bad guy! And that is the basis of pro wrestling. It's very rare that WWE managed to do it where, without blending kayfabe and reality together, you genuinely want to see the bad guy get his comeuppance. But I'm at that point now. I want to see Bobby Lashley get beaten up by Rusev. I want Lana to get her just desserts too. We'll see. Roll on TLC. It's the match right now that I'm most looking forward to. But, you know, it's not saying a great deal, is it? Drew McIntyre versus Akira Tozawa is up next for some reason. And this is exactly what you would expect it to be. Drew McIntyre tossing Akira around the ring like a sack of spuds. At one point, Drew getting on his knees and he's like, just leave. Just leave. Spare your life. Get out of here. Does Akira? Does he balls? Come on, Akira. He lost, obviously. So Akira looking brave or stupid, probably stupid, fighting back, really trying to take down the Scottish psychopath, but he can't manage it, obviously. But in doing so, Akira makes Drew look like £1,000,000 Scottish pounds. Drew looked terrific in this, especially the finish, where Drew nails Akira with the Claymore kick, and Akira does the backflip thing. It's the best sell that I think I've ever seen for a Claymore kick, and Drew looks like a dangerous, dangerous man as a result. Great job, Akira. Sure, a predictable win, but I really enjoyed it. Mostly because Drew looks so spectacular, but also because Akira, I joked about it earlier, him looking stupid. I don't think he did look stupid. I think he looked brave. I think he came out of this, although losing, looking pretty good. I hope they use him more because I really like Akira Tozawa. This one gets... I'm going to be generous. This gets a B+. After the match, Drew grabs a mic, runs down the losers who take to social media to start beef. And one of those losers is Randy Orton. Drew says, I'd never be like that. Randy Orton, get out here right now. So Orton comes out, Drew runs him down, saying the only thing that Randy Orton is good at is posting on social media, and that the RKO out of nowhere, that's a thing of the past. The Claymore out of nowhere, that is the future. Orton says he does what he wants because he has earned the right to do so. But Drew, if you have a problem with me, let's sort it out right now. Ooh, we're going to get a wrestling match. No, we're not. Drew and Randy are then interrupted by the OC, who say, Randy, you ruined people's lives. You ruined Uncle Alan's life. Look at his spectacular hair. You ruined the reign of Uncle Alan. Loving the Uncle Alan stuff, by the way. Not creepy at all. Drew's like, well, this sounds more like a Randy OC problem than a Drew problem. So Drew pisses off, and then the OC start beating down on Randy Orton, but Ricochet makes the save, but the numbers game is too much. Then Humberto runs out. He tries to make the save, but the higher ground game is too much. And then Rey Mysterio runs down to the ring, trying to make the save, doing so successfully. The numbers game finally in their favor, standing tall to close the segment. Backstage, Randall Keith tells Team Flippy Boys, cheers for the assistance. I didn't need your help at all, but you know, thanks anyway. He definitely did, by the way. And I'm not going to grade this segment, but there are lots of interesting possibilities here, I guess. I'm interested to see where this goes, because we could get Randall Keith versus Drew McIntyre. We could get Randall Keith versus AJ Styles, which I think is probably the most likely outcome following the main event. We'll get there in a bit. We might see a big multi-man, maybe at TLC. Time will tell. I'm happy to stick with it and see where this one goes. Tony Nese versus Aleister Black is up next, and this is as predictable as it sounds on paper. Aleister Black largely in control, picking up the win with a black mass, and I can't give this any more than a C. No issue with the result, and it's nice to see Aleister Black do something meaningful. Well, meaningful is a stretch. It's nice to see him wrestle, at least. We then cut backstage. Buddy Murphy's being interviewed, and he says that Aleister Black is a man who takes himself far too seriously. The reason that he knocked on Aleister Black's door is because Aleister Black is a hothead. He needs to calm down, and he's going to be the man to do it. Okay, sure, all I've really got to say is that given time, and I hope they get it, these two could put on some sensational matches. But Will it make the cut for a TLC main card match? I think this reeks of pre-show to me, which is such an unbelievable shame. You think back a few months, Buddy Murphy, super hot on SmackDown with the Roman Reigns stuff. Aleister Black's main roster debut, they completely botched. It's a shame that I'm complaining about what will generate some really, really great wrestling matches, but I just feel like both guys deserve so much more. Meh. Andrade versus Erick Young. Remember him is up next, and it's just another match for the sake of a match, which was seemingly the theme of last night's Raw. I'm going to try and find something positive to say here. At least it's nice to see Akira Tozawa, Tony Nese, and Erick Young on TV again. Right? Right? This was slightly more back and forth than the two previous matches. Erick Young hitting the big elbow at one point, but it doesn't last for long at all. He gets locked in the hammerlock DDT, dropped, and Andrade is your winner. It's another C for this match, and it's made worse by the fact that seemingly this match actually happened to get some 24/7 title stuff on the show, and it just felt like a big old waste of time. So the 24/7 title stuff. The NASCAR guys are in the front row. Out runs R-Truth, and he hides in front of the NASCAR guys behind the barricade. Cue all of the jobbers. Erick Young's normally a part of them. Cue all the jobbers running down, and they ask the NASCAR guys like, hey, where's R-Truth? And they're like, hey, he went that away. So they all run off. Truth's like, thanks guys, cheers, all the best. But this leads to Kyle Busch, his name was, rolling up R-Truth as Michael Waltrip. Makes the pin, he's got a ref shirt underneath. Cool reveal and everything, but meh. I'm not going to pretend to know anything about NASCAR. I'm British. We all know why these things happen, and already mainstream news is reporting on that NASCAR driver whose name already escapes me, winning the 24/7 title, and that's cool. The problem is it's just becoming a bit tiresome to watch, isn't it? Just roll up after roll up after roll up, after celebrity roll up, after legend roll up, roll up, roll up, roll up, roll up. I want them to do something a little bit more meaningful with the belt. And I'm not proposing that we see an R-Truth Drake Maverick 30-minute Iron Man match. I don't want it to be taken super seriously or anything. It's just week in, week out, all this stuff is becoming quite tedious. So hopefully they freshen things up, because I remember when the 24/7 title was introduced, super excited about it. I think it's a great idea. I still think it's a great idea. It's a bit played out, isn't it? Speaking of played out, meaningless bollocks, it's time for another Erick Rowan squash match. This week, they couldn't even be bothered to hire a local competitor, so enter No Way Jose. Whew. During the match, the Jose buds are outside the ring, obviously, and they look like they're going to have a quick peek at the cat cage thing, and Rowan is really pissed off by this, so he trashes all of them, gets back in the ring, trashes No Way Jose, picks him up, Iron Claw, and then lifts the shoulder after one, picks him up again, another Iron Claw, and then he wins the match. This gets my D. Maybe I'm being a bit harsh because we've just seen 4 non-matches in a row, but I just felt like I'd wasted 45 minutes to an hour of my life with this bollocks. And that's not a good way for any viewer to feel. Worse yet, there's still no real advancement with the Erick Rowan cat cage stuff. Like, my intrigue should be building week to week, but it's not. It's just petering off week to week because we're seeing the same thing week in, week out. And I don't know, I've just got into my head that whatever it is going to be really disappointing. I just don't see it being that good. I should be used to disappointment. 25 years of being a pro wrestling fan. Disappointment is like a brother to me, but I don't know, I'm not optimistic, which is a shame because I like Rowan as well. But there you go, we'll see. I'm happy to be proven wrong, obviously. The Bobby, Lana, Rusev stuff, really enjoyed it for the past 2 weeks. I might be in the minority there as well, I don't know. But I hope it's something cool. It's not going to be. Maybe it's just a cat. Oh. Finally, it's time for a proper match. Charlotte Flair taking on both members of the Kabuki Warriors, Kairi Sane and Asuka. Before the bell even rings, Asuka and Kairi start laying into Charlotte Flair, and it was just a nice little touch here, even with the numbers advantage. Like, they've already got the upper hand, but they want an even more upper, a hand up there, because they're heels. And it's just classic heel work, really basic, fundamental stuff, but stuff that I like seeing. Sensible, quick tags between Asuka and Kairi Sane. Every time Charlotte tries to make a comeback, she's either taken out by the non-legal woman or taken out by the legal woman following a distraction from the non-legal woman. It's only when Asuka makes a mistake, accidentally colliding with Kairi Sane with her buttocks, that Charlotte is able to mount a little bit of offense. Later on, Charlotte finally managing to get the upper hand. She sets both women up for a moonsault. They're all laid out. She goes for the moonsault, but both women get their knees up and take control once again. Towards the finish, there's some really good near falls, some really good submission attempts by Charlotte, who keeps managing to lock something in, but every time she does so, either Asuka or Kairi, the non-legal woman, breaks it up. It looks like she has it after a spear, it looks like she has it when the figure eight's locked in, but Kairi, brilliant finish, drops the elbow during the figure eight and picks up the win for the Kabuki Warriors. Really enjoyed this match a lot. It gets an A-. Firstly, it was a very welcome change following the 45 minutes of nonsense that we'd just seen. The finish was really creative. And finally, and I say this as a big fan of Charlotte Flair, Charlotte didn't win. I'd have been proper pissed off had Charlotte won this one with like a roll-up or something like that. She shouldn't be beating both of the women's tag champs, so this was a big relief. I've seen arguments that Charlotte got in a bit too much offense during this match, but I think I disagree with that. Charlotte is one of the best female wrestlers, if not the best female wrestler in the world, and actually Charlotte getting the upper hand just a couple of times but then being quickly cut off by Asuka and Kairi Sane only emphasised the flawless teamwork of the Kabuki Warriors. And now it's time to go back to pointless matches as the Viking Raiders take on a couple of jobbers, one of which I think is wearing Jack Swagger's old singlets. I'm not sure, I don't care. Yes, it's another squash match for Erick and Ivar, and this one gets a D because they are so past it. Been saying this for so long now. It just seems that WWE have no idea what to do with these two. And every time it seems like they're going to do something proper, something worth investing in, it just gets cut short, and then they go back to beating up jobbers. We know they're really good. Come on, move on. Give them a pissing feud. Anyway, main event time, and it's six-man tag team action as the OC challenge the Flippy Boys, Humberto, Carrillo, Ricochet, and Rey Mysterio. And after lots and lots of lifeless matches, this unfortunately felt lifeless too. It felt like another thrown together main event tag match to further an angle, and that's all fine. I just wanted a bit more excitement to close the show, which we didn't get. A fine match which played out exactly as you would expect, with the heels beating down the little man. Which little man, you ask? Take your pick. Humberto first. Humberto tags in Mysterio. It looks like Flippy Boys have it won. He sets up for the 619, but Carl Anderson stops him from doing so, and then it's Rey Mysterio who takes the beat down. Ricochet finally tags in, and him and AJ have a wonderful little sequence. That was all good stuff, and then it all breaks down. The Flippy Boys going mental in and around the ring, flips and dives, and you know the score. Anyway, let's go to the finish. Ricochet sets up for a top rope Hurricane Rana, but AJ Styles manages to reverse it. Super Styles clash. 1, 2, 3. AJ Styles picking up the win for the OC and a B in the process. But it's not over yet, as AJ Styles is celebrating in the ring. In slides that sneaky little venomous Randall Keith, who hits him with an RKO, and the closing image of this week's Raw is Randall Keith posing on the "That's your lot." And what an underwhelming episode this was. There were a couple of good matches. Maybe I've been too harsh on the main event. It was alright. Charlotte versus the Kabuki Warriors was good as well. But everything else just felt subpar. There was a lot of filler. And when you've got a 3-hour show, that's an awful lot of filler. This wasn't a fun episode to get through, I won't lie. I can't believe I'm saying this, but despite its flaws, I think the segment of the show that I enjoyed the most was the Bobby Lashley, Lana, Rusev stuff. And after going so hard on it in previous weeks, it blows my mind for my mouth to be spurting those words. But there you go, it's certainly the segment that I had the most fun watching. And isn't that what being a part of the WWE universe is all about? Fun? Before I go, no joke this week, a big shout out to Zach Gowen. You'll remember Zach Gowen, obviously, who has recently taken up special amputee-friendly karate classes, so good luck on that. Apparently his goal is to be a black belt in martial arts. That was just nasty, wasn't it? Thanks for watching. Let us know what you think in the comments down below. You can follow us on Twitter at Cultaholic. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Cultaholic. If you enjoy what we do here at Cultaholic, you can pledge to us on Patreon. That's patreon.com/Cultaholic. And most importantly, don't forget to hit subscribe and join us.